All right, happy Tuesday, everybody. I'm KHOU 11 meteorologist Pat Cavlin here with a look at your forecast for KHOU 11 Plus. A little bit of a deeper dive here on what we're dealing with here in terms of heat and also a pretty quiet period in the tropics right now. We'll talk about if we think that's going to last, at least as we go through the next week or so. But it is a hot and sunny day out there right now, 93 degrees at Bush. We're doing this right now at 12:30 in the afternoon. So, I mean, look, if it's 93 at 12:30, it's going to be really hot as we go through the rest of the afternoon. 95 for Sugar Land. That's the hottest spot on the map. Upper 80s farther north, but a lot of 90s out there right now. And we are going to make a run into the upper 90s here by the afternoon. In fact, I think some of us will get close to the century mark. Forecast here around 3 to 4 p.m. I think that'll be the hottest part of the day. Let's say from 2 to 4 p.m. Somewhere in that window, I expect we're going to get really close to 100 degrees. Probably just short of it, I would say around 99 for Intercontinental, the official reporting spot for temperatures in Houston. But that doesn't mean that areas like Sugar Land or other spots could get to 100 degrees. And then we just stay in the 90s here all the way at least through 8 o'clock before we drop back into the 80s once the sun goes down. But even once we get into the 80s, the humidity sticks around, and so that will still make it feel like the 90s here as we go through at least a good part of the overnight. So here are the top 3 things you need to know. It's dry and it is sunny for now, which is great. It's a nice break from the rainy summer that we have had so far. That being said, the trade-off here in Southeast Texas is when you get dry and sunny weather, that pushes the temperatures up. So our highs will be near 100 today, tomorrow, and Thursday before our rain chances start to come back. I would say by Friday into the weekend, rain chances go back to at least typical levels, maybe slightly above where they are this time of year, at least in the scattered category. So I don't think it's going to be a washout for us, but we are tracking some higher rain chances here by the start of the weekend. Let's talk about some statistics, though, in terms of the triple-digit heat. So, you know, it's not unusual for us rather to not get to 100 degrees, but it is pretty uncommon. We've only had 2 years in the last 20 where we haven't gotten to 100 degrees. That was 2014 and 2021, or at least in the last 30 years. The latest date, though, that we've ever gotten to 100 degrees has been September 27th, 2005. Could you imagine the summer of 2005? You get through July and August and most of September, and you don't get to 100 degrees. And you think, all right, this isn't going to be too bad. And then you get just before October and you get there. That's crazy. Our typical first day of the summer that we make it to 100 degrees is usually July 19th. So we're only a few days behind schedule on that. Again, so far this year we haven't gotten there. But if we get there today, if we get there tomorrow or the next day, we're only about a week behind schedule. So nothing crazy in terms of our heat. In fact, so far this has been a pretty normal year temperature-wise for us here in Southeast Texas. So the rest of the day is sunny, it's hot, we stay dry, high pressure starts to move overhead, and that is when we're going to see our hottest weather. So that's tomorrow where we make a run at 100 degrees. Now out in the eastern Gulf, we've got this little wave of energy and moisture that's going to start to move our way kind of on the back edge of that high. It doesn't get here Thursday, so I still think it's another day near 100 degrees, but by Friday that starts to pivot in, and that's where our rain chances may start to increase here as we get into the weekend. So today, tomorrow, we run future track all the way through. We don't have to stop it just because we're going to see a lot of sunshine. Thursday even, mainly sunny skies, but here comes that energy now. Thursday afternoon, it's just near Louisiana and over the Gulf. That'll creep in maybe Thursday night, but really Friday is when we start to see our rain chances increase a bit. It doesn't look anything crazy for Friday morning, but I would say probably by Friday afternoon, once we get the heating of the day going, that's when we'll probably start to work in some higher rain chances across the area that'll stick around into Saturday as well. So until then, it's hot. 100 for tomorrow, 101 for Thursday, and then as the rain chances increase Friday and Saturday, that's when our temperatures drop back to where they should be, if not maybe a degree below normal. So nothing crazy here, not a big drop in the numbers, but we do come back to earth in terms of where we should be. And then as the rain chances start to drop a little bit again into the start of next week, our temperatures go back above normal into the upper 90s. But again, today, tomorrow, dry. Thursday even looking pretty dry here, just a 20% isolated chance for a shower or storm, but we are much more into the scattered category by Friday and Saturday. And that is, again, what will bring the temperatures down as we get into the start of the weekend. So here's the setup. High pressure starts to move overhead today, tomorrow, into the end of the week. That's the batch of tropical moisture that I was pointing out before. That just kind of wraps around the back edge of that high. So again, Thursday, possibly our hottest day of the week, that high is right over the States. But that moisture is funneling in right behind it, and by Friday into the weekend, it's overhead. And so this is where our rain chances will start to increase as we get into the weekend. Now, I got some good news for you. In the tropics, things are dead quiet. We are not expecting any tropical development for the next 7 days. That little area that we're watching to the east of the Antilles is just not going to develop. And the reason for that is just a big plume of Saharan dust that moves out. And then we've got another one coming in by next week. So the Atlantic is just kind of under this influence of dry, dusty air. So why does that impact tropical development? Well, to get a storm going, you need abundant moisture, you need water temperatures that are above 80 degrees, and that helps to support cloud growth and storm development. But the key really is that tropical moisture in place. Now, water temperatures out in the Atlantic right now are well above 80 degrees, so that's not the problem. The problem is the moisture source, because when you've got that Saharan dust moving in, it's dry air in the mid-levels of the atmosphere, and so that really robs us of that moisture to create clouds, to create storms, and in extreme cases, if the dust concentration is prolonged enough, if it's thick enough, that can actually cool the water temperatures down by reducing the amount of sunlight that gets onto the water surface. I know that that's a problem right now. I mean, water temperatures are certainly warm enough out there, but really it's robbing the atmosphere of any moisture to produce storms. So where does all of this dust comes from? Well, in Africa, we've got the Sahel and the Sahara. The Sahara is the desert. The Sahel is that sub-Saharan area where it's kind of that border between the tropical rainforest and that dry area. And so we get a lot of storms during the monsoon season through that part of Africa. Well, as those monsoonal storms move through the Sahel, they produce a lot of outflow and a lot of wind, and that kicks up all of that dust into the atmosphere. That dust gets carried aloft by the trade winds, and there you go. That moves over the Atlantic. This is very typical. Every year we go through this. We talk about it every year. And it provides a lot of, believe it or not, that dust has a lot of nutrients that helps to feed the marine life here in the Atlantic, and also provides a lot of nutrients for the rainforest down in South America. So it's a really important part of the ecosystem, but hey, it keeps things quiet for us in the Atlantic. We'll take it. All right, if you're doing any traveling for tomorrow across the Northeast, weather's gorgeous. This is the place to be right now. Low humidity, warm temperatures, a lot of sunshine, beautiful weather up and down I-95 from Boston down through Richmond. Into the Southeast, a little more unsettled. Remember that little pocket of energy I was showing you that's coming in behind that high? That's over the Southeast tomorrow. So scattered storms from Tallahassee to Jacksonville into Tampa, up through Atlanta as well. Could see some of that moving into New Orleans also. For us tomorrow, it's sunny, it's hot, it's dry, 100 degrees here in Houston, 98 for San Antonio, same for Dallas, low 90s out towards El Paso, mid 90s for Kansas City. Farther north, Garden City to Omaha, Chicago, hot weather, mid 90s, a lot of sunshine. St. Louis, sunny weather, near 100 degrees. And then some cooler weather here in the 70s as you get up towards the Dakotas. Back across the West Coast, beautiful weather from San Francisco to LA, 70s with sunshine. Hot for Vegas at 101, Phoenix at 104, Denver 85, Salt Lake at 91. And finally, Pacific Northwest, weather up here looks really nice as well. 80s and 90s, a lot of sunshine, dry conditions with the exception of a few storms getting out through Montana. All right, here at home, here's your 7-day forecast. We'll do 99 for today, 100 in the books as we get you into Wednesday. 101 then for your Thursday. Record high temperatures for tomorrow and for Thursday are 101 for both days. I think we'll get close to challenging that as we get into Thursday. More rain chances means more cooler weather as we get into Friday and Saturday. Scattered showers and storms. I don't think it's a washout right now, but just kind of back to normal afternoon storm chances. So again, that'll bring us back to the mid 90s. And then we go more isolated with temperatures getting back into the upper 90s as we head into Sunday and the start of next week. That's a look at your forecast. I'll have an updated look and your 7-day forecast, including the middle of next week, coming up on the KHOU 11 News at 4 o'clock. Hope to see you then.